here since a couple days of not seeing Dan. How's he look to you?
He's doing great. He's pretty easy peasy colt. He eats well, and he's a real quiet horse. I've used the terminology that he's an old soul. Nothing much phases him at all, which makes our job really easy. We are going to paddock school him this morning, give him a little walk through there and let him eyeball it. He's been in the paddock at Oaklawn a couple times, and it's a similar paddock to Oaklawn. But we're going to jog him a turn, walk him through the paddock, and make a loop or two, stand him in the five pole or box, and then take him out and give him a light gallop.
Good. I know you've talked about it before, but for us, tell me, what does Robbie Alvarado bring to your team here this week?
Well, experience, great hands, fun. Robbie and I, when we brought Swiss Skydiver up years back, or a few years ago, it was him and me, and Chico, same groom actually. So it's kind of like putting the band back together. But Robbie has transferred into being a jock agent as well, but he's somebody that I really depend on to get on horses and make sure they're doing right, and he likes being around good horses, so it was an easy call. And I told him, I said, I need you to come get on him. I need you to go to Pimlico. He said, I'll be there.
He said he's getting the same feeling as he had with Swiss Skydiver.
Yeah, I could see that.
The horse
yeah.
Every day
We've kept a similar routine. We're not a complicated outfit. We try to keep it simple.
Has Robbie kind of mentioned to you maybe he wants to unretire for Saturday?
Yeah, I said if Brian didn't make it in, he'd be glad to fill in. You know, of course that wouldn't happen, but it's great. You know, I have a lot of respect for a lot of the Louisiana riders. I think that their talent seems to be at another level, and I've had a lot of success with the Cajun riders. But these guys, they really know how to horseback, and they make a good part of your team.
What makes Dan so special?
His mind. He's just a real easy horse to be around. He's quiet. He unassuming. You can walk him around the barn, and nobody would say that's a Kentucky Derby winner. But his mind is, and it gets that, I think, from Harlan's Holiday, a horse that I trained years back. Is just a real old soul.
How's he settled in here?
Settled in fine. Yeah. We brought him up Sunday. We wanted to come up and beat the traffic. I made the decision Saturday morning to get him on up here. I didn't want to come up on a Monday or a Tuesday and have to deal with a big, late afternoon traffic issues and stuff like that. Would have added a couple hours to his trip.
You also trained his dam, Ma'am, for much of her career. Why did you think she'd be a good horse to breed? Because she never even ran in a stakes. Well,
Colonel John is a broodmare sire. I'm really big on that, like how the lines cross. But Colonel John was a very good horse, 1.25 mile type horse, and she had stamina. She wasn't quite quick enough to be a stakes horse, but she was solid. And this is a filly that tried hard every time out. And I encouraged Lance and his father and brother to keep her. And then my version or vision on it would be she needed an injection of speed, and she got that from Golden Sense. And they're similar packages. When you're breeding racehorses, you need to breed like to like, and I thought that physically he matched her really well, but he would add that gas that you needed, and look what we got.
While we're on the pedigree, can you talk a little bit more about the sire line? Because you said this horse reminds you physically of Northern Dancer, who it goes all the way back to, of course.
He does. If you look at the blaze and the body, he does look a lot like Northern Dancer. But he also, the Harlan's Holiday, how Harlan's Holiday's transcended into being a really good stallion or a sire line is a great thing. I think he's a better horse than Harlan's Holiday. Physically, he's faster than Harlan's Holiday. Harlan's Holiday would grind it out, and he was a fighter. This horse is fast, and he's a fighter.
What do you look forward to the most on Saturday?
We want a quiet day. We don't want anything complicated. We don't want any hoopla. We want to get him over there and give him his best chance. It's still not an easy race. There's no guarantees, and it's a very humbling sport. But right now we've got everything in line, and we're going to leave it up to Brian Saturday.
Does it keep it more real with fewer horses? You don't have the craziness of the 20 horses in the Derby?
Well, his post position in Kentucky was for him. He didn't really see but about 6 or 7 of them, because he had enough speed to place himself well. So the horses that were on the outside and behind him, he was unaware, as he should be. But this race tactically is usually a little trickier, but I think this distance is probably better for him.
Does a muddy track potentially help, or at least not hurt your horse?
I don't think he needs a muddy track. We all know he'll run on it, but he'll run dry. and that's fine. He's had 2 wins on dry track.
So no rain dance for Saturday?
No, we don't worry about anything we can't control. You start with the weather, your wife, your daughters.
Sunny.
Sunny. I can control him.
With your horse, besides the fact that a top contender's out with Muth scratched, how does that change the race tactically, do you think, and technically for you?
I don't overcoach Brian Hernandez. I'll let Brian do his thing. It's about feel out there. It's not about what I tell him to do. I think that's why we do well, and he usually makes the right decision. But a little more pressure might be on him, but I'm not going to put it on him. He knows the horse, and he's a great rider, and he's proven that, and we'll let him go out there and do his thing.
Do you think there's a little bit more pressure though on both of you, and because now you're the favorite as opposed to maybe the second choice?
No. Pressure's self-inflicted. I'm going to enjoy this. There's nothing I can do out of what get him to the track and back, make sure he's doing right. Brian, same thing. I don't see Brian putting any unnecessary pressure on himself. He's going to go out there and ride his race.
We learned during the Derby you like to make lists.
Yeah.
Have you made a list for Saturday yet?
Oh, yeah.
What's on it?
Win the Preakness. I put win the Belmont too on there. I think you have to channel your energy.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I think things tend to happen. If you don't have any focus or where you're going, you can't get from point A to point B if you don't say that's where I want to go. But it's still got to go. It's still got to fall in place, and a lot of it's out of our control.
With Muth out, who's the biggest rival in your mind?
Well, I thought Catching Freedom really trained really well going into the Derby. He was a horse that I thought anybody that asked me, the ones that I thought would run well, he was one of them. And I don't really know what kind of trip he had. I hadn't analyzed his trip, but he's a very nice horse. And I think Bob wouldn't bring a horse without it being a good horse. And then, Chad's also got a horse coming out of, I believe, the Wood. Louisiana Derby. Yeah. But it's not a given. We've got to run a good race.